When World War II began in September 1939, the United States did not rush into the conflict. Europe was once again at war, but America's memories of World War I were still painful. More than 100,000 American soldiers had died in that earlier war, and many Americans believed it had been a mistake to get involved. As a result, the U.S. government passed Neutrality Acts, laws designed to keep America out of foreign wars. President Franklin D. Roosevelt personally believed that Nazi Germany was dangerous, but he faced strong opposition at home. Many Americans supported isolationism, the idea that the United States should focus only on its own safety and avoid European conflicts. Groups like the America First Committee argued that Europe's problems were not America's responsibility. Meanwhile, Adolf Hitler was rising in power. By 1940, Germany had conquered Poland, Denmark, Norway, the Netherlands, Belgium, and France. Britain stood alone against Nazi Germany. Even then, the United States did not declare war. However, neutrality did not mean complete silence. Roosevelt slowly began helping Britain. Through programs like Cash and Carry and later Lend-Lease, the U.S. sent weapons, food, and supplies to countries fighting Germany. Officially, America was not at war, but Germany noticed. To Hitler, these actions were not neutral. He saw them as indirect attacks on Germany. Still, he avoided declaring war on the U.S. because he was already fighting Britain and preparing to invade the Soviet Union. At this point, one important question remained unanswered. If America did not declare war on Germany, why did Germany later declare war on America? To understand that decision, we must first look at what was happening in the Atlantic Ocean, far from the battlefield but close to the heart of the conflict. While America claimed neutrality, the Atlantic Ocean was already becoming a hidden battlefield. German U-boats, or submarines, were attacking British ships to cut off supplies. Britain depended on food, oil, and weapons shipped across the Atlantic. If Germany could starve Britain, it could win the war without invading. The United States officially did not fight, but American ships were sailing dangerously close to war zones. U.S. Navy destroyers escorted British convoys part of the way across the ocean. Roosevelt justified this by calling it a defense of freedom and trade. Germany saw this differently. In 1941, German submarines began encountering American ships more often. Several incidents raised tensions. One of the most important was the USS Greer incident in September 1941. A German U-boat fired torpedoes near an American destroyer. Roosevelt responded by ordering the U.S. Navy to shoot on sight any German submarine threatening American shipping. This was a major step toward war. From Hitler's point of view, the United States was already acting like an enemy. American ships were protecting Britain. American factories were supplying Britain with weapons. American intelligence was helping track German submarines. Still, Hitler did not declare war. Why? Because Germany was preparing for its biggest gamble yet, Operation Barbarossa, the invasion of the Soviet Union. Hitler believed he could defeat the USSR quickly and then turn his full attention to Britain. He did not want another powerful enemy. But events outside Europe were about to change everything. Far away in the Pacific Ocean, another Axis power, Japan, was planning an attack that would shock the world and force Germany into a decision it could no longer avoid.
Germany, Italy, and Japan were allies, known as the Axis powers, but their alliance was not as strong as many people think. They did not always trust each other, and they did not always coordinate their plans. In September 1940, they signed the Tripartite Pact. This agreement promised that if one Axis country was attacked by a new enemy, the others would help. The key words were attacked and new enemy. This detail would later become very important. Japan was expanding aggressively in Asia. It invaded China, occupied French Indochina, and threatened European colonies in Southeast Asia. The United States strongly opposed this expansion and responded by cutting off oil and steel exports to Japan. By 1941, Japan faced a crisis. Without American oil, its Navy and Air Force would stop working. Japanese leaders believed war was unavoidable. Germany knew Japan was planning something big, but Hitler did not know the exact details. He believed Japan would attack British or Dutch colonies, not the United States directly. This was a major miscalculation. Hitler also believed that if Japan attacked the US, America would focus on the Pacific, not Europe. He assumed the US was too far away and too divided to fight a major war against Germany. This belief would soon prove disastrous.
On December 7, 1941, Japan launched a surprise attack on Pearl Harbor, the main U.S. naval base in Hawaii. In just a few hours, hundreds of American planes were destroyed, and more than 2,400 Americans were killed. The next day, President Roosevelt addressed Congress and called it a date which will live in infamy. The United States declared war on Japan. At this moment, something very important happened. The United States did not declare war on Germany. Many Americans expected Germany to stay out of it. According to the Tripartite Pact, Germany was not required to help Japan because Japan was the attacker, not the victim. Hitler had a choice: stay out of war with the U.S., or declare war and make America an official enemy. For 4 days, the world waited. Then, on December 11, 1941, Adolf Hitler made his decision. Germany declared war on the United States. Why would he do this? One major reason was ideology. Hitler deeply hated what the United States represented. He believed America was controlled by capitalism, democracy, and what he called Jewish influence. In his racist worldview, the U.S. was a mixed society that he believed could not survive a long war. Hitler underestimated American strength. He believed Americans were soft, divided, and unwilling to sacrifice. He thought the U.S. economy was powerful but inefficient. He believed American soldiers lacked discipline compared to German troops. This arrogance shaped his decision. Hitler also believed war with the U.S. was inevitable. From his perspective, America was already fighting Germany indirectly. Declaring war, he thought, would simply make the situation honest. He was wrong. Hitler believed Germany's submarines could defeat America the same way they were attacking Britain. German admirals promised that U-boats could sink American shipping faster than the U.S. could build new ships. At first, this seemed true. In early 1942, German submarines sank hundreds of ships along the American coast in what they called the Second Happy Time. American defenses were weak, and cities kept their lights on at night, making ships easy targets. But the United States learned quickly. Once officially at war, the United States transformed its economy. Factories that once made cars now made tanks. Shipyards launched a new cargo ship every few days. Germany could not match this production. By 1943, American shipbuilding overwhelmed the U-boat threat. Radar, sonar, and aircraft closed the Atlantic. Hitler's gamble was failing. Germany now faced the Soviet Union in the east, Britain and the U.S. in the west, strategic bombing from the air.
This was exactly the situation Germany had tried to avoid since World War I.
Even after Pearl Harbor, U.S. leaders decided Germany was the main enemy. American troops, supplies, and aircraft flowed into Europe. Hitler had helped unite his enemies. American forces landed in North Africa, then Italy, then France on D-Day. Germany was pushed back on all fronts. The declaration of war in 1941 now looked like a fatal mistake. Most historians agree Germany did not need to declare war on the U.S. Hitler acted out of ideology, arrogance, and miscalculation. Germany declared war on the United States because Hitler believed war was unavoidable, he underestimated American power, he trusted faulty military advice, he was driven by ideology, not reality.